Hey, Igniters! Sorry, I'm just a couple minutes late. It took me a little longer to get home from dropping my daughter off at tumbling. I'm gonna try to put this up so you can see me better. Does that work? There we go. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to get started with our preschool book fair training. This is pretty casual. I just wanted to give you guys some ideas because preschool book fairs will be starting up in the next couple of weeks. I want to challenge everybody to do a preschool book fair before the summer because it's a great way to build your business. It's a great way to meet new people. I treat my preschool book fairs like I treat booths, and so I have gotten bookings from my preschools, and I have some potential recruits as well for my preschool book fairs. So I definitely would challenge you all to reach out with a local preschool or daycare. So we're gonna get started. I'm kind of gonna just go in order. I have some notes, so I'm just gonna kind of go in order. The very most important thing that I want to emphasize when we're starting is that we do not list preschools. So there's not a master list of who is servicing what preschool. And so it's very important that when you make contact with the preschool that you check to make sure that there's not another consultant already working with that preschool. When I am referring to preschools and daycares in our training, I'm referring to like daycare settings or preschools that do not have a kindergarten. So if they have a kindergarten, we're not allowed to service them without being an EC, an educational consultant, where you would list them. So since it's on a hold right now, the educational consultant is on a hold. When I refer to preschools, I'm talking about anything without a kindergarten or above in it. So let's just get started. You decide that you want to do a preschool. Where do you find preschools and daycares? The pretty awesome thing is they are everywhere. When I started, I actually just drove around my town and found preschools and daycares that were just in my town, and I just wrote names down of places that I could contact. The cool thing is there's a lot of standalone ones, so you can find a daycare center that's a standalone. There's also ones that are in churches. There's community ones. So they're just all over the place. You do want to kind of try to get ones that are a little bit larger in size. Like there are those little preschools that moms have in their houses. Those ones not necessarily are going to be the best for you because that probably only has 9 to 10 kids in them. And so you want to pick some bigger ones that have 30 to 80 students that are coming and going throughout the week. So that's what I just looked. You can look in your yellow pages. You definitely can ask for referrals. I have 2 of my preschools. I met somebody at a home party who worked at a preschool, and that's how I got in with them. And they're one of my most consistent preschools. So there's lots of places to find preschools and daycares. I do know that a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm in a saturated area and everybody already has the preschools. I definitely do not believe that that is true. I think that there are way more preschools than are being serviced. It's kind of an underutilized area of our company, of our business model. Lots of people don't take advantage of them. And also you can kind of look outside of your local area. I know I drive about 45 minutes to some of my preschool book fairs. And so definitely take a look at some that maybe are a little bit farther out for you. Because it's worth it in the long run. So the very first thing is who do you contact? So you want to be in contact with the director of the preschool. The director is going to be the person who is the one who plans the calendar, has contact with the students and the parents, and is kind of the one who makes the rules regarding the preschools and stuff. So the very first thing that I do is I call the preschool. I don't email, I call. Our business is all about personal connections. I want to stand out. I don't want to just seem like a business person that's trying to sell them a product. I want them to know that I genuinely have something awesome to offer their school. And so I like to call. When I call them, I ask to speak with the director. And this is how the conversation goes when I get on the phone with the director. Hi, can I speak with the director of your school? Oh, hi. Hi, this is Amanda Zorns with Usborne Books and More. Have you ever heard of Usborne Books before? Great. Are you being serviced by an Usborne Books and More rep already? That is the question that you always need to ask before you even start any of your conversation. You need to make sure that they're not being serviced by a rep already. If they aren't, then you can proceed and say, awesome. Usborne Books are amazing books for children of all ages. We have some really great programs to offer the preschools and the daycares. Could I meet with you for 10 minutes on Wednesday and show you some of our books? So in my conversation, I want to contact them. I want to call them, and then I want to schedule a meeting with them. The daycares, sorry, just making sure my daughter's okay. Claire Bear, come here. The daycares are busy. They have lots of kids coming and going, lots of crazy stuff. So you don't want it to be something stressful for them. So I let them know that it's a 10-minute meeting. And I schedule a 10-minute meeting with them. I don't give them all the details about our programs and like over the phone. It just gets too much. They don't understand how cool the books are, and so it just seems like something else that they have to do. And so I always do that in person. So the very first thing I do is I call the director and I ask for a 10-minute meeting if they're not being served by somebody already. At the meeting, I like to bring about 10 age-appropriate books. So I'm going to bring books that are going to be fitting for the daycare setting. So that's not my books. The touchy-feely books. You can even get the phonics books because most of the daycares will have beginner readers in them. You want to be taking a good idea of what we have to offer the school. As they are going through the books and falling in love with the books, that's when I let them know that we have some really awesome programs that we can offer our daycares. The first thing I offer is I say, if you ever just want books to put on your shelves, I help you order books. And they can get shipped directly to your school. The second thing I say is, if you ever receive any donation money, if you ever receive grants, somebody donates money for your daycare, we have an awesome grant matching program where you can order books and you get 50% back in free books. And so it's a really great way to stretch that dollar and get you more books for your classes. And then my most favorite thing is our preschool book fairs. And this is something that I leave last to talk about because I want them to be excited about it and think about it as I'm kind of ending our meeting. They say, we have a really awesome preschool book fair program. Preschool book fairs are great for you guys because you get free books by letting me come and set up a book fair in your school. It's super easy for you guys. All you do is advertise and provide a place, and I come and I set up all the books and I man the book fair, and then you get 50% back in free books. So I share that with them. I let them know that all they're going to do is pass out flyers to the parents, give me a place to set up, and that's all their job is. At the end, they get to collect 50% of the sales in free books. So if it's a $1,000 book fair, they get $500 in free books. And that usually wins people over. They're pretty excited knowing that all they have to do is provide a place for you to be. So before I go to leave, I thank them. I say, thank you so much for meeting with me. I'm so glad. I would love to chat with you more about it. Would you be interested in picking a date and we can do a book fair this next month? I always try to leave by asking them if they would like to pick a date because it kind of helps end on a positive note, and gives me obviously it builds my business when I leave. So Chanel just asked, they need to hit $250 in sales to get the 50%. Correct. You do need to hit the $250 in sales in order to get 50%. If not, then you would just do it as a book party, like a home party sales thing. I've never had a preschool that hasn't hit $250. But yes, so you can always say that when you're describing it. So after you've contacted and you've made a date, you set a date, I want to talk about what is a book fair? What does this mean when I'm talking about our preschool book fairs? You have kind of two options with the preschool book fairs. Aunt Aubrey says, "Hi, Claire." Say hi, friends. Claire Bear, she is book fair queen because she comes with mommy to all of her book fairs. But so what is a preschool book fair? The first one is that you have an option to do an order only. So if you're a brand new consultant and maybe you don't have inventory yet, maybe you aren't eligible to get consignment, you can do an order only. I personally have never done an order only. I've always done like a cash and carry, but with an order only, I would set up a display of books, and those are the books that the parents can order from there. So they're not actually taking from your stock, they're just ordering. I know that there are some people who do order only book fairs and they're super successful. Celeste Colon, she's in this group with us. She has had a really successful order only book fair. So that's always an option for you. I would still run it the same way. So I would set it up, have the parents order directly from you that day, and then have all the books shipped directly to the preschool. And then they can divvy out the books to the parents. So that's an option. And another option is the cash and carry. And this is the way that I do it. I take consignment or inventory, and I set up several tables, and I allow the parents to come and shop and take directly from the table, directly from my display. I love this because I think that it just kind of gives people like that, like, oh, hey, I'm going to buy right now, and they get excited. And then the kids really fall in love with the books, and they want the books because they see them right there. So that's the way that I do it, is I do a cash and carry. The only supplies that you really need for your preschool book fair is the books, obviously. I ask the preschool if they already have some tables that I can borrow, because they pretty much always do. So I just use the tables that the preschool already has. If you have racks, that's a great way to display books, but it is not required. You can display your books without racks, and there's lots of images on this page that gives you ideas about that. In the supply store, you can purchase some book fair posters. They're like $1.50 and you get 5 of these, and I know some consultants laminate them and then write on them. They're cheap for me, so I just write them and then I give them to the preschool, and I don't have to worry about it. But I write the information and I mail it to the preschool. Also, there are some flyers that you can that are the same way. I'll make sure that they are in our files thing, but you can enter them in and then just print them off. And so I just give them like a master copy and let them print as many as they want. So those are the supplies that I use. I personally use Square for all of my checking out. If you don't feel comfortable using Square, then you can use receipt books and just write everything down. I have done that. That's what I did actually for the last 5 years, was I just wrote receipts and gave receipts out. So we have, who do you talk to? What is a book fair? Now, when do you do a book fair? I like to do them twice a year. I like to do them in the spring and then in the fall. Usually it's around Easter time and then around Christmassy, Halloween-ish time. And I personally like to do it during the pickup times. As a mom, I know that when I drop my daughter off for preschool, I'm dropping her off and leaving, and I'm not going to hang around at the school. I have things that I got to do. Usually I'm not dressed, and so I got to go get ready. So I assume that that's how other parents are. And so I like to do it during pickup times. Usually that's 2:30 to 6. You can kind of ask the preschool director what times their pickup times are. But that's usually when it is. That's when I set up, and that's when I hang out. I like to do it between 2 to 3 days. All of these things that I'm giving you are very much principles of things that you can do. Obviously, you're going to change it a little bit depending upon the school. So I like to ask the preschool, what days are your busiest days? Sometimes that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Sometimes that's Wednesday, Thursday. Sometimes it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because they have different kids coming in and out. And so I like to ask them. I don't do it for more than 3 days because I feel like that's a waste of my time. you want to create this sense of like urgency. And if parents know that you're going to be there for the whole week, they are not going to buy anything until Thursday when they're their last days. So you want to create this sense of urgency. I feel like 2 days works because they come and they're like, oh, there's a preschool book fair. Like, even though there's been flyers all over the school, oh, there's a preschool book fair. Oh, I don't have money. And then you can say, that's okay, I'll be here tomorrow. And so, like, I feel like 2 days is that's usually how many times I do it. And I just do it from like 3 to 6. Usually. It just all kind of depends. So we have what, when, and where. I like to do it in the main foyer or by the front door. Somewhere that it's the most high trafficked places. That's going to depend on each school. I really, really try to avoid like being stuck in a room because that makes it very easy for parents just to walk by you. So I try to tell them, hey, can I set up in a very high traffic area? Some of them will let you set up and keep it there. So I have several that I set up and then I keep it there. And in the morning, the parents will browse and shop while I'm not there. And then I check them out later that next day. Some of them I actually am in like a classroom or I'm in like one of their main general areas. And so I have to clean up and then pack back up the next day. So you just want to ask where the high traffic area is. Felicia asks, what days have you found to be the most successful? It really depends on each daycare and preschool. I like to base it off of what days are the best for them. I know in a lot of daycare situations, they have some days that have more kids than other days. So you definitely want to make sure that you're hitting those days. Most of my book fairs tend to be on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just the very middle of the week. But I have had some that it's like Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday. So you really just want to speak with the director and ask them what days are the best days for them. What days do they have the most traffic, the most kids coming, and when do they have the most load of kids? So it's kind of going to you're going to kind of be flexible in that way. So the next question is how. So how do you do a preschool book fair? Here I'm talking to you about it. How do you do it? Sorry, 1 second. Claire's getting into something. No. What is that, Claire? Ugh. I think I'm firing her as a book lady because she is making life so much more difficult. Huh. Okay, so how do you do a preschool book fair? Okay, so once I've scheduled the book fair with the preschool, then about 2 weeks before the book fair is when I like to send out the posters, the flyers. I like to let them to start advertising. I will be completely honest. I have had some where I don't know if they ever advertise, but I don't know if it makes much of a difference because you're still going to get those parents who are going to walk in the day of the book fair and be like, oh, there's a book fair today? Like they still don't know. So I don't like over stress yourself out about it, but you definitely want them to start advertising, letting the people know that there is a book fair coming up. All of those supplies are available in the supply store. The day of, I get there usually a half an hour to an hour before, just depending on how long it's going to take me to set up. And I set up my display like I do a booth. So I will have a couple of tables. Usually I have 2 to 3 tables. And then I put my tablecloth on it and I set up my books. You want to try to set up age-appropriate books, obviously. I usually have a bin of chapter books because you will get those kids who come to pick up their younger siblings, and so there's chapter books in there. I have activity books, but I do have a lot of younger kid books. And when I'm there, I'm just treating it like a booth. And so when the parents come in, I like to let them know that if they purchase any books, they will get them. It will help the school get books for free. And then I'm there to help them. And as they're perusing, I give them recommendations. I just do the book lady thing. I give them recommendations and then I check them out. Somebody said that there's a question, so let me look. Okay. Jamie asked, if parents shop in the morning and check out later, do you leave something for them to fill out so you can bill, or do you mean they see what they like and then you actually purchase when you're there to pick up? So Jamie, what I actually do is a lot of parents will just peruse and then they'll have the books that they want and they'll purchase them later that evening when they pick up their kids. Or I have even had them where they start a stack. And so they'll just start a stack and then give them to the director or the secretary lady. So I'll just have stacks of these books. And then when they come and pick up is when they actually purchase the books. So I don't require or make my directors or the employees of the daycare or preschool do any of the checking out. And so they can just pick out the books that they want, and then I will do the purchasing for them when I get there. So, and then Felicia asks, are there any specials that you can use to help increase sales? When I do preschool book fairs, I do not offer any. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I do not offer any specials. Sometimes you'll have people that will ask if there's any specials, and I let them know that this special is that the school gets 50% back in free books. So a lot of times that will just be enough to say, they'll be like, oh, okay. I know as a parent, for me, like, I'm more willing to spend money if I know that it's going to benefit where my kids are, like, attending school. So that's what I do. I don't offer any other specials. I do let them know that they don't have to pay for shipping. Because you don't have to pay for shipping when you're doing a preschool or when you're doing a book fair. So that's the only specials. You don't want to eat into the school's free books. And so I just let them know that the only specials they're getting is that the school gets the rewards. Really, I only maybe say that one time during the whole thing. Most people don't worry about specials. If they say, well, I really like the books, but I can't afford them, that's when I will let them know that I do that I do home parties, and if they want to do a home party, that they can get free books. Amanda said, if a preschool daycare that has after-school daycare for older kids as well, does that change things? Do you have to be an EC? No. When we consider a preschool that has a kindergarten, that's where they're like going all day and doing like a kindergarten program, that's when you have to be an EC. But if you're doing a daycare where they'll go pick up kids from the elementary school and bring them back, you're okay. You don't have to be an EC for that. It's, only like a 2 or 3 hour gig that the kids are there, and it's more of like a daycare setting. They're not getting an educational thing. So you're totally okay to contact those daycares that have the elementary kids in there, as long as they're not providing the education. They're not like a school that has kindergarten through whatever in it. So, so back to some of the things that I do while I'm at my preschool book fair. What I personally like to do, like I said, I like to treat my preschool book fairs like, I like to treat them like booths. And so I will actually provide like a drawing slip for the parents to fill out. So in the files, there are like drawing slips. This kind of gives you an idea of what they are. But I have a stack of these, and I have just like a little crate or a bag that says enter a drawing now. So when I'm ringing people up, while I'm ringing them up, I say, hey, if you want to go enter a drawing, you totally can. It will be for free books. And so that way I have contact information from the parents that I can contact them to see if they want to do a party. I also nonchalantly say, as I'm checking them out, oh, hey, I also do home parties and Facebook parties, so if you're interested in getting free books, I would love to have you as a hostess. I don't push it a lot because my goal is to help the school, but it's a great way to kind of put that little bug in their ear and get them thinking about wanting to host a party. So I use it to get bookings. I use it to get leads, and I have. And so it's kind of a free booth, and it's really great. So these, you can just print them off. They like come on like 4 to a page. I just print those off. I just have a stack, and I just have it as a way to, to enter their name. When I check people out, I personally use Square. So with Square, like I have all of my consignment inventory. So it says like $9.99, $8.99. I have all the books listed by the price. And so I just go through and I just list them by what price they are. And I keep track of what cash and cash or credit cards are in the payments. If you don't want to use Square for that, you can do receipts. There are some awesome receipt books that the home office provides in the supply store. It says Usborne Books on it, and I don't know, they're kind of pretty. So I like those ones, but you can also just purchase receipts at just like home office Max or whatever. Kathy asked, how do you gauge how much consignment to have on hand? That's always a tricky thing. I'm going be honest, I don't really have like an equation or whatever. I kind of just take all the consignment I have, which can get kind of ridiculous. But I would always probably suggest like $1,000 to $2,000 in consignment. If it's a smaller school or it's the first time, you easily could get away with 500. I always like to say you want to plan 2 to 3 times, even 4 times as much as your sales are, is how many you want to have. You want to have enough selection where people will feel like they can purchase. So I believe the more you have, the more you'll sell. So say you're hoping $1,000 in sales, then maybe have about, $3,000 to $4,000. So that's just kind of, but take what you have. Sometimes it's okay if you don't have a ton. I've also had situations where I've had ones that are really popular, and those will be order only. And so I'll say on them, like, this is my last copy, but I can order it for you, and they'll come with the school's free books. Or I'll even, people will say, well, you don't really have anything on trains. I'll say, that's okay, and I'll pull out my catalog and show them some of the trains books, and I'll have parents actually purchase like from the catalog, and I'll just order it with the school's books. So Felicia, she asked about the home parties. Did that give you some idea? I know that you said never mind, so I think I answered that question. Sherry asked, where's the supply store? Yeah, so if you go to your, if you actually go to your e-commerce site and you log in as a consultant, on the left-hand side, it will say supplies. It's at the very bottom, like of the little, like, I don't know what you call it, the menu. It says at the very bottom, that's where all the supplies are. So Felicia asked what titles I had the most success with, and so I personally like to take books that are my favorite. You're going to sell the books that you talk about the most. And so I definitely like having those books that I sell. So I have a lot of my own personal favorites there. I like to have a lot of combined volumes. I like to tell people when I'm doing a preschool book fair, or even a booth for that matter, the great value that they get when they purchase a combined volume. So I have Ted and Friends, Complete Book of Farmyard Tales. We have a lot of That's Not My Books, My Wild Animal World. The books that my kids love are the books that I sell a lot because those are the ones I talk up the most. I try to avoid having, this is going to sound bad, but I try to avoid having the $5 books. I do have them, but that's not the bulk of my inventory because I want to obviously sell a more expensive book. And so I like to have some more of the expensive books there, $10 to $20. It's kind of where the bulk of my books will be. When I set up, I usually have a table of like baby books, so all the younger toddler baby books. The next ones I usually have are going to be more of the sciencey, like information books, so the See Inside books, the flat books, I will have some of the nonfiction books, like the World of Animals, and those ones are going to be in another table. And then I like to have another rack of like activity books, so coloring books, wipe cleans. Wipe cleans sell really well. I love taking the wipe clean packs, like the $19.99 packs, because it's such a great value, and so I talk that up when I'm helping people. So, can anybody tell me what time it is? Because it's not showing up on my phone. Is anybody there? So anyways, and then the very last thing, 11:41. Okay, cool. So I have about 2 minutes. So the very last thing that I do, ouch. The very last thing that I do when I'm all done with it is I want to give the free books to the school. So you have 2 options with this. What I do is I add up all of the sales. When you add up the sales, it's going to be sales before tax. So it's just going to be the retail price of every book. You add those up, and then the school gets 50% back in free books, as long as they hit $250 in sales. If they don't, then you can treat it like a home party. But, so, like, if it's a $500 book fair, they get $250 in free books. What I like to do is I like to give them a catalog with the little post-it note that says, yay, you earned $250 in free books. I say, please email me, and I give them my email. Email me by next Friday your list of books. So I give the responsibility to the director to email me the books that they want. And then I'll I'll just wait for her email, and then that's when I will reconcile, or I'll close the book fair, is when I get their free book box. I like to ship the books directly to the school, so then I don't have to worry about like going back and taking them. But I have had situations where I have them come to my house, and then I organize them, and then I take them to the school. So that's kind of up to you. Another option to reward the free books for the school is to have them choose directly from your consignment what you have at your preschool, or at the book fair. In December, when the shipping times are taking a while, I just told my preschool, I said, hey, shipping's taking a little bit. Would you be interested in just taking your free books from what I have? And that's what they did. So they went through and chose $1,000 in free books from what I have. And then there's not any wait. They can just pick. So it's up to you how you want to handle it. If you want them to choose directly from the catalog, or if you want them to choose from your stock that you have. I like to do either or. You don't want to mix, you can mix them up, but you don't want to, because it makes it more confusing when it comes time to reconciling the books. And so I would have either or, give them a catalog or let them choose. And then I thank them so much for letting me do it. And I like to throw little things in, like, I'll be in contact with you so we can schedule a book fair in the fall. So I like to kind of keep that door open for myself. And so that they know that I'm planning on coming back. So Kathy says, do you simply provide the PS with a list of who ordered? What if they ordered something online? So I actually, like, I've only had a couple of preschools ever want to do an online, like, link. And if they have, it's only been like 1 or 2 orders, and those, I actually don't give them an option to have them shipped to the school. So if there's any orders online for the preschool, I have them shipped directly to the customer, so they don't have to deal with it. If I had a parent order a book, like, with me, so say that they wanted a book that I didn't have in stock and they wanted to order it, when it gets to the school, I'll just let the school know, like in an email, say, oh, hey, Susie's mom ordered this book, and I'll give it. And so then they'll take it to them. Renee asked, if you choose from your consignment, if you choose from your inventory, how do you reconcile consignment? When you're reconciling it, you, instead of, like, when you go to reconcile it in your, like, ordering in the back office, it will say click from consignment products, I think. Any books that are under that means that it's coming from your consignment, and they won't ship them. So that's how you would have them. I don't want to confuse people too much, but if you decide to go that route, then talk with your upline leader, and they can help you, like, walk you through reconciling. So I know Chanel, Claire she's had it. So, yeah, so I just wanted to kind of give you guys some ideas of how preschool book fairs are. I'm sorry it's a little crazy and Claire's being naughty. My daughter's at tumbling, and so I don't have somebody to help keep her occupied. But I hope I gave you guys some ideas of how preschool book fairs are. I love them. Like, I probably do like 6 of them each, like in the spring and then in the fall. I love them. I love being able to meet with more people and grow my business that way. It helps me fill up my calendar, and I feel like it's a pretty consistent thing. Like, I have one in the spring, I can pretty much plan on doing one in the fall. The awesome thing too is, since there's so many preschool and daycares around, if it starts getting a little, like, if maybe they decide they don't want to schedule a book fair with me again, or maybe it wasn't worth my time, you can always find another preschool. And so that's what I love too, is it's like, I actually have a list of preschools that I want to contact when I know, like, I have some extra time, or then I can always just contact them. Yes, Sarah said, a wish list from the preschool has also been helpful. Sometimes if a parent doesn't end up buying for their family, they will buy books for the school on the wish list. That's a great idea, Sarah. I haven't actually done that, but I have heard other people doing it, and I think that's an awesome idea, where you provide them with a catalog beforehand, and then they can just write up their wish list, and then you can say during checkout, oh, hey, these are some of the books that they want, the school wants. Would you like to purchase any of them? So, Sierra, if you listen to the very beginning of the training, I talk about how you approach and initiate a book fair, who you contact, and how you kind of go that way. So, I will post this onto the group page so you can go back and look. It's about 40 minutes, but that information's at the very beginning of the training. If you have any more questions, just personally message me or just ask like in Igniters and I can kind of help you. So I hope that gives you some ideas. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end with my favorite advice. And this is going to be advice that you can apply to your entire business. But advice that I think is especially important when it comes to preschool book fairs is when you do your first preschool book fair, it can be scary. It's just like any new thing. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I remember when I came home from my very first ALR, which is like ELC that I'm going to today. I remember telling my husband, I said, I want to have one preschool book fair this year. That was my goal. Now we kind of like joke and look back and say like, wow, that was such a scary goal at the time. But now like I have 6 that I do twice a year. And I'm much more eager to talk to people about it than I used to be. And so it is scary to start out with when you're starting. But my biggest thing that I want to just tell you is just fake it till you make it. Don't let them know that you're scared. Just go in there and act like you rock it. You're the book lady. You know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, it's okay, but just don't let them know that. And then just come and message one of us on Facebook and we will help you work through that. But just pretend, fake it till you make it. Pretend you know all the answers and we will help you along if you don't. You don't need to know everything to get going with the preschool book fair. Like I said, a lot of the things I've said are more principle. These are things that you are going to have to adjust and change based upon the certain circumstances of each preschool. So just remember that. Be flexible. If you need specifics, you know, I'm more than willing to help you and give you some feedback, and as well as some other leaders as well. So I'm excited to see how you guys do. I'm excited to see the post pictures of your book fair, post words that you said, share with us your successes of your preschool and your daycare book fairs. If you're also interested in becoming an EC when it's not on hold anymore, this is a really great way to kind of like introduce you into the realm of the elementary schools. Like, I don't know, an elementary school book fair, even for me now, is really daunting, but a preschool book fair is something that I can do. So go out and book those, call those schools, make those appointments, and I'm excited to see your successes. I also will be reaching out in the next couple weeks for some new book fairs as well, so I will give you feedback, or I'll share with you guys my experiences as well. So yes, Emily says there's an album on book fair pictures and stuff like that. So anyways, I gotta go. It's 11:50. My little alarm just went off. But love you guys. I will be at ELC this week, so I will be like joining in and sharing with you guys some like words and things that we're learning. So talk to you later, guys. Bye.